My principle this morning is, it is unto you as you believe. It is unto you as you believe. Design Your Life was inspired for me by Ernest Holmes' A New Design for Living. Moving from unconscious living to creating the desired life by following the principles of science of mind. It was written by Ernest Holmes the year before he transitioned from this expression to the next. So it's most of his most integrated ideas about science of mind. So if the textbook, you feel a little lost in the textbook, try this particular book. Very small book. But he says, everything that I achieved in life, I achieved by following the principles in this small book. I was in high school, and I was the first generation of designer teens. In other words, we thought it was real important for us to wear clothes that had somebody else's name on them. Now, my famous designer at the time that I loved was Pierre Cardin. And I loved the logo that had the integration of the P and the C. So one of my dreams in life was to have people walk around with my name on their clothes. It's still my dream. Now, my initials are HRH. So I thought this was the perfect logo to have on clothing. His Royal Highness. I mean, you just can't get away with that, right? So I designed the logo. To this day, if I write my initials, I write my initials in that design, and I did it in 3rd grade. I'm still waiting for it to manifest. But I wanted my own clothing line. I thought that's what's real important, to stamp my name on everybody that was walking around. Now, much later in life, it's interesting how things manifest in a different way. I was sitting with my parish priest, who was my pastor at the time, and he stopped me. We were sitting at dinner, and he looked at me and he said, "How did you become so normal?" So I had totally fooled him, obviously. And he said, "How did you become so normal? You had everything working against you. You grew up in Detroit. You grew up racially mixed at a time when it wasn't popular. Let's be clear, it wasn't popular at the time. I was adopted, so I have never looked like anyone in my family. My cousins always reminded me of that, by the way. Here I was gay and Christian." He said, "So you should be really messed up." And out of the blue, and for all of you that find that as an offensive discussion, it wasn't offensive at all. Because what came out of it was its own revelation and epiphany. Because without thinking, I said to him, no, I believed what I was taught by my parents, not what the world tried to teach me. See, there were people that would have selected me out in the church that, yeah, these are the principles that we teach, but they don't apply to you because you don't fit. But I believed it anyway. So I learned to declare my word very, very young. So yes, everything can work against us, but we can make a decision by designing our own life, by being the architect of our own life. We can choose not just to respond to the world around us, we can declare and choose how we want our life to be. How do we do it? It's by choosing and declaring to yourself the life that you want to live. So it's about designing your life, being the architect of your life, not being what everyone else has created you to be or defined you to be, but being who you are. Now, my parents taught me one thing. They said, be humble, because, it's not about you. With God, all things are possible. Now, I'm glad they taught me that as a kid, because I thought I could pray and just have magic happen. But later on in life, I understand that this was a partnership with me and the divine, that this was a manifestation of a relationship, that it was my declaration, it was my belief, but the power and the authority comes from on high. But those two things working together is what makes your life what it is. Now, I didn't always follow these rules. I didn't do everything perfect. There was one or two things in life I did that weren't perfect. But in the big view, I was always reminded that this was the point, because my mother reminded me by always telling me this: don't let anybody use your mind. Don't let anybody use your mind. Because using your mind means you think like the people who are against you about yourself. And that is how we can be abused and taken advantage of, because you believe the lie that has been delivered and you practice and operate out of the lie that is in your life. So it is our responsibility as a community and as a family to tell people, regardless to what the world says to you, you are the apple of God's eye. You are God's beloved. That God decided to put a face on himself or herself, and it ended up being you. You put a face, a personality on the divine. And because of this, we get to design our life, and we are the architects of our own life. Designing a life that comes from the inside to the outside. It's about being aware that we are the architect of our life, even when we are not intentionally making decisions. See, many of us live in buildings and structures that we did not consciously create. You know, sometimes we live in buildings of habits and beliefs and patterns that have been handed to us. And we have to choose to not believe every message, but scrutinize the message so that it works for us. But what would happen if we all shifted our consciousness away from just responding to the world, but declaring in our life what our life would be and what we expect out of ourselves and in life? What would happen if we assumed the responsibility for designing our own life? Now, it doesn't make a difference if you didn't design it yesterday. There's nothing you can do about yesterday but learn from it. But you can change every moment in your life going forward. Doesn't mean you won't have to overcome. Yes, you will. But you can declare, and you can believe, and you can design the life that you want to live. Now, most people long for a life of value. Isn't that what we get angry about? Because we think things in life, or things that happen in the press, or things that happen in government or in the politics, are against our values of social justice and love and equity and equality. When things threaten that particular value that is within us, it makes us angry, because we think we want the world to be in agreement with exactly the way we think. And I think, but when you're right, you just want it that way, you know? But there is this tension, right? There is this tension. We desire transformation, but at the same time, we have an old blueprint in our head about how life is and what it's supposed to be. And we look for life to continue to confirm to us exactly where we are right now. It's just human nature. We want to be comfortable. So we tell ourselves what people have told us, and it wasn't necessarily true. But architects get to design their structure. They get to determine and have a vision about what will be built. And it's about building the inner and the outer world that we are a part of. Because divine love is the spiritual principle behind the metaphor. It's divine love. That's the power and the authority for us to operate in that allows us to manifest in life what we want. Holmes teaches that life is shaped from the inside out. It is by thought, belief, and spiritual awareness that we design or we accept the blueprint. We live in a responsive universe. What we do comes back. You can name it many different ways, what you reap, what you sow, however you want to design it. But we all believe, I think, collectively, that we live in a responsive universe. And so that we do good, good actually returns to us. Our thoughts, our intentions, and our beliefs are creative forces. Now, I'm not really a big teacher that says that we design everything that happens in our life. I don't particularly teach that. And I don't necessarily teach that before I was incarnated, I decided how my life would be. I don't teach that, because if that were true, I wasn't a very bright pre-incarnate person. Because I have overcome, but that doesn't mean life was easy. Okay? All of that stuff that he said was against me all happened. I suffered through all of that, just like all of you. We've all suffered. So I don't believe that we design or we expect or we believe everything that manifests in our life. What we experience here this morning has a lot to do with each other. The energy is high in the room, not just because of me, but because all of your expectation is high. Your energy is high, and I'm just riding on it, okay? And I love to ride on it. I tell the band, if you grease the skillet, I'll fry the chicken. Just pave the way, and I will do my job. Children do not create the abuse that happened to them in life. We didn't create it either. People took advantage of the situation, so we don't design everything that we experience. If you need to be that much in control, we're an interfaith community. You can believe whatever you want. You can sit there all morning and go, he is crazy. He don't know what he's talking about. That's okay. But you will turn around one day. Everyone does. Resistance is futile. You shall be assimilated. I just don't teach that. But I may differ at some particular point in my life, but that's how I am right now. You can believe here what you want, and you're at home. You're welcome to be here. We probably can't find two people in this room who agree on anything. That's the beauty of being in this kind of space. But here's the wonderful thing. We can do it. We do it all the time. People say it's not possible. Yes, it is. It's possible. We manifest it right here. See, our response is to creative energy, right? And how do we become aware that we are an architect? Ernest Holmes says, we become aware because the divine source is the material, the raw spiritual substance from which we build. We build our lives on the power of the divine. This is why we're not in this all alone. See, our mind is the drafting table. It's where our ideas and our beliefs and our visions take shape. And spiritual law is the engineering in it all, ensuring that the substance and the design and the structure will survive in the world that we build it in. Science of Mind teaches we are co-creators with the infinite. Therefore, it is unto us as we believe, even when we believe things that are damaging. Even when we believe things that are damaging. I really wish the Spirit would filter it all out, but the bad things we think about ourselves, we believe to be true. But I extend an invitation to you for transformation. That no matter what has happened up until this date, and if you feel that your whole life has just been a response to the world that you are in, I am asking you to make a conscious decision for your life to be different as of this one moment in time. Going forward, declaring what you want to have and what you want your life to be. Now, how do we do this? First of all, you must clarify the blueprint. What in life are we designing? What are we designing? Holmes writes, we must know what we want before we can have it. Now, sometimes that requires journaling, envisioning, and meditation for us to truly figure out what we want to design. What is the blueprint that we're designing? Then, before you build, what do? Particularly in Sacramento, you inspect the foundation, right? I lived in North Natomas. We called it the bathtub. You want to inspect the foundation. Are you identifying the limiting beliefs that you are trying to build upon? Because if we have limiting beliefs and we build upon it, the foundation will not be stable. It will constantly be shaken by the environment that is around us. But if we change our thinking, it changes our life. Science of Mind teaches that we replace old mental patterns with new ones, with new spiritual affirmation. Now, the power in affirmations is this. If it is true, it's true even if you don't believe it. So you might say, well, I really can't say this because I don't believe this is true. But it's true even when we don't think it's true. That's the power of affirmation. The power is in the affirmation, not in us. The power is in the word that we declare. All thought is creative and influential. Therefore, if we have a thought that no longer serves us, we replace it with one that does. Forgive yourself and go on. Dust yourself off and keep right on moving, because tomorrow is available to you to manifest the structure that you are building in your life. You always want to evaluate the materials that you are building with. Have you ever built something and it just didn't stand up to the test of time? We removed a bookcase that was in one of the rooms. I touched it and it went, and I said, okay, this is not a sure foundation at all. It's the material, it's the thoughts and the ideas of what we have. What are we building on? That lets us know how our life will manifest. And again, whatever you thought before, you can change your mind. Are these materials strong enough to build the structure that I intend? Do I have the foundation and the materials to build the structure? Remember, with God, all things are possible. And therefore, we can say it and it can manifest. If your current belief is not serving you, replace it with one that does, a different one. And if that one doesn't work, replace that one. I've changed my mind a few times in the last 5 minutes. Okay? In the last 5 minutes. Each of us can approach life with our own command of personal development, and the fact that we are setting goals and that we are strategically thinking about what we want to manifest. The issue of strategic thinking is, I design today what will manifest tomorrow. So you have to start today with the idea of what you want to manifest in the future. By applying the principles of design and creativity, the power works with us to manifest the life that we are looking for. We can embrace opportunities for growth. We can design the life that we want to live. Now, architects don't build alone. Most architects don't build anything. It is the plumbers, it's the masons, it's the electricians that build the dream that someone is building. The architect has the vision and the dream, and you let the power of the law make it happen. The law brings the mason and the electrician and the plumber and all that is needed. I will tell you, week after week here, I turn and I go, I need this here. I need for this to happen. And if I just wait and not interrupt, it manifests. The people manifest. The ideas manifest. I walk in the room and people ask the exact same thing that I'm thinking of, because we have a vision of what we want. So we are the architect of that design, but it is the law that builds it. So as a faith community, you are not doing this alone. We are all here to contribute to the building of your dream. We are here. If you listen to us, you listen to somebody, even if you don't want to listen to me. There's someone here who has a word for you that will encourage you to go on. See, it's all about having a vision of what you want to manifest in your life. And every time something in you says you can't have it, if God says so, yes, it can. There are authors in this room. There are all kinds of creative people in this room. And seriously, as I tell you all the time, there is nothing about my life that makes me think I should be standing up here. But it was the desire of my heart. And because it was the desire of my heart, somehow or another, it all works together that I end up in exactly the place where I need to be, where my vision manifests. So I invite you to change your thinking and to change your life. I invite you to not think about how hard it all is all the time, but to affirm what we said this morning, that everything I want and need in life comes to me what? Easily and effortlessly. You have to speak against the doubt and unbelief, even if you have to speak it under your breath. Every day, I have to remind myself when everything is breaking apart, God is the only power in my life. And if God is the only power in my life, the only power in my life is love, and I just need to let it be, and it will manifest. Change your thinking. Change your life. Be the architect and the designer of your life. It's not hard. It's not too hard. It's not that it won't ever happen. Everything I want and need in life comes to me quickly, easily, and effortlessly. And so it is.
I let it go. I release the things I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me, and I'm falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more for me to do, nothing more to say. I'm just falling into God's love. I feel Spirit holding me, and it is lifting me up high. On the wings of love I fly. Oh, fly. I let it go. Come on, church. I release the things I'm clinging to. I release what's holding me. I'm just falling into God's love. I let it be. There's nothing more for me to do, nothing more to say. I'm just falling into God's love. I feel Spirit moving me, and it is lifting me up high. I rise on a power I can't see, on the wings of love and it is lifting me up high.